Life is precious. I think we would all agree. But often we find that we take the very things that we do every day in life for granted until something happens in a blink of an eye.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Tom Russo, and this is In a Blink of an Eye, where we discuss stories from ordinary people whose lives are changed in an instant and how they overcame through faith, courage, and determination. Join me on this podcast for uplifting stories of how people face various challenges and learn to not only survive, but thrive. In a Blink of an Eye is sponsored by TradingCardsMarketplace.com. Discover, connect, collect. That's TradingCardsMarketplace.com. Now, I have to tell you, I say we talk about ordinary people, but I certainly don't think that this is any ordinary person that we have as a guest today. I am absolutely 100% honored that we have former Major League Baseball player, New York Yankee, Andre Robertson, with us today. Andre, thank you so much for being on the program with us.
Thanks for having me.
I have to tell you, I've known Andre for a while. We met at a golf tournament many years ago, and we started a journey to maybe even write a book, and hopefully we're going to be able to do that about his life and amazing story. But I'm going to kind of turn it over to him and let him tell us where he got started, where he was born, and all that good stuff. So, Andre, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Andre Levette Robertson. My aunt named me that. She was a French teacher, so that's kind of how I got Andre. But I was born in Orange, Texas, 1957, October the 2nd. I just celebrated my 68th birthday.
Wow.
But I grew up, it's a small town, about 19,000 people. And my dad worked at the local chemical plant, and I followed in his footsteps. He worked there 38 and a half years. I've been there 36 years now. So it's kind of the place to work if you live in this town.
Right,
But
right.
I love this place. We've had some other famous people I could say come out. Kevin Smith with the Dallas Cowboys. Earl Thomas played with Seattle. You know, it's a select few of us that did get to make it and had an impact on the sports world. So I'm proud to be one of the people that did that from this small community.
Well, you certainly did, and for those that don't know, Andre played 5 or 6 years in the major leagues,
Yes.
and with the New York Yankees. He also recently was elected to the Hall of Honor for the University of Texas out in Longhorn Land,
Yes.
uh, and they paid him a big honor at West Orange Stark, naming the baseball field after you. Is that correct?
That is correct. And all of those things had a big part in my life. I don't know if we talked about it, but I did. I was a four-sport letterman at West Orange, and now it's West Orange Stark because Stark was our crosstown rival. But
Yeah.
you know, and what happened is I played football, basketball, baseball, ran track. So I was also a band member. So what I was told by the time I got to the ninth grade, I'm first chair trombone player. I still have that here at my parents' garage. You
Oh, we'll
know,
have to hear
so
you play someday.
oh yeah, I think I can do the scale now. The rest of it, I'm not real sure, but you know, in during that time, it was something to do, and I like to get involved in a lot of activities because it made the day go by. You know, and it made my parents proud to be able to. I could do both things, and it's like he said, don't limit yourself, and that's kind of how I live my life. So but I did get an ultimatum when I got to the ninth grade. It says, you're either going to play that trombone or you're going to play sports. And I think I picked the right option.
I think you probably made the right decision. I
Yeah.
don't know. You may have been a world class trombonist too. I don't know. I wouldn't doubt it, knowing you. But I will tell you, uh, I heard a story. You're going to have to verify if this is true. When you went to the University of Texas, you actually thought about going out for the football team, and you walked in and you saw the size of Earl Campbell, and you said, "I think I'm going to stick to baseball." Is that correct?
That's right. I was actually in Austin for the state track meet, and I'm not a big person. You know, at the time I played, I was 5'10", probably 165 pounds. Well, that's how they recruited me. I was there for the state track meet, and I actually finished third in the high jump. I'm 5'10". I jumped 6'7". Ended up with the bronze medal. And if I could have done that Fosbury flop, I may could have gone higher. I just ran and rolled over the bar. So
So you did it the old school way, where you
I
lifted I guess your left leg up and kind of went back over,
well the right leg.
or your right leg. Okay, all right. I am still here. All right,
Okay, there we go. But
there we
yeah,
go.
jumped and rolled over and but they recruited me at the state track meet. So I went to over to the football stadium, walked in the weight room. First person I saw was Brad Shearer. He won the Outland Trophy that year. He was a big
Right.
lineman. No, he's 275, which is not big at all. But when I
Back
went
then it
down,
was.
right, and when I walked down a little farther, there was Earl Campbell, and this man's thigh was bigger than my waist. So it was a kind of humbling experience, but it's one those type things I'll never forget.
And it made you say, you know what? I think I'm just going to go play for Gus out on a baseball field.
That is true because if I tried to tackle him, he probably would have stumped a mud hole in me. But we became we became friends when I was there because what a lot of people don't know, I was the first, they say African American or black baseball player on a scholarship at UT. So he was the big football star, so we kind of connected on that level and used to go out and watch kung fu movies and we both liked it because they do this stuff like, I'm gonna get you right now, you know, that type stuff. So we kind of connected on that level, just being athletes, and it's kind of the same now, because I've connected with the NFL and the NBA alumni associations along with MLB. So I've gotten to know a lot of great people, and it's been a very good ride.
Well, that is truly amazing, and you talked about being the first African American scholarship player at University of Texas. It seems to be a theme with you all throughout your career. Weren't you one of the first African Americans to play in your little league in Orange,
I was. That
and
is
one of the
true.
first at the high school?
Right.
And I've tried to do my research, and I haven't been able to verify this, but as best I can tell, you were the first African American shortstop that played somewhat regularly for the New York Yankees. I mean, in the house that Ruth built.
Right.
What what an amazing journey!
Yeah.
Just unbelievable.
Think I was just the right person to be picked to do these things because I never had any issues when I was at UT, and we're still lifelong friends. In fact, I think in a couple of years, my roommate's going to be the one to do my knee replacement for me. So that's like
Well,
I said, it's coming back full circle on a lot of different things.
well, I got to tell you, I also know firsthand from firsthand experience, you're one heck of a golfer too. I know that firsthand because you whipped me soundly when we played.
Well, I don't think I can beat Steph Curry or anybody like that now, but I hold my own and I still can hang with some of these younger kids that think they can outdrive me. So,
You know what? I have no doubt that you could suit up right now and go play any sport. I have absolutely no doubt. Let's fast forward to your major league career. So you're with the New York Yankees. I think you came up in '82.
well, it was
Um,
actually it was 81.
okay,
I played that's the year that I played in AAA was the International League All-Star shortstop. They brought me
okay.
up at the end of the year. First game was in Minnesota. I didn't play. Oh yeah,
That young man.
that's it. My rookie card with Steve Balboni and Andy McGaffigan. So
I
we
I I used to own a sports memorabilia store, and I have a very extensive Andre Robertson autographed card collection that you helped me out with here,
oh
going through your career here.
I got a story about that card.
Do you?
Yeah, well the other one
The '84?
when I was running. Okay, they said famous one-legged baseball player Andre Robertson played for the New York Yankees.
And then the grand finale, the 1986 card there.
Right. And that one was after my best year, like 85. I hit 328 that year. I was hurt a lot that year in spring training, and it's kind of a sad story. I finally made it, and I hurt myself the end of spring training, and that's actually why I had to stop playing. I tore my ACL, and it's still torn to this day. I've managed to get through life with it, and it's like now that I'm close to retirement, I'm hoping to get that thing fixed.
Well, I'll tell you, I know during your playing days, again, I interrupted your story of coming up in '81 when you were International League Player of the Year, but you made it to the New York Yankees, and you played with some incredible players there. I mean, I know you played with Don Mattingly, and
Right,
starting in '83 and '84, you
right,
played with Dave Winfield.
right,
You Billy Randolph. You played with some incredible ball players
right.
in the center of the baseball universe, really. I mean, up in New York. What was it like playing in the big spotlight like that? I mean, that's a far cry from Orange, Texas.
That's right. And my dad taught me certain things, and I just wore my cap so low I could only see the first row. So it was almost like playing in high school. So it didn't matter who I was playing against. And, like you mentioned some of the players, but it was Reggie Jackson's last year, Dave Winfield's first. Ricky Henderson came along later. You got the Goose Gossages, Greg Nettles, Bucky Dent. It goes on and on. And it's like I learned from all of those guys, and it's like that's one of the things that I could do well is I listen and learn. I didn't go up trying to be brash or saying I'm the one that's gonna be here and da 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 da. I learned my craft, and you watch the best players in the game, it's gonna rub off on you. And so,
Yeah, and I'm absolutely true. Now, I know you roomed with Ken Griffey Sr., correct?
well, I did. We were in the same building, and I think that was the year Ricky Henderson came, and I got a great story about that.
Oh, I got
Because
to hear it.
okay, well, we all stayed in the same building. It was across from New York. So we were in there, and I said, "Man, this is a very expensive." I had a one-bedroom apartment, but it was nothing in it. So Ken Griffey, who was a star in himself with Cincinnati Reds, same thing. He said, "Yeah, boy, I got the same thing." Well, Ricky Henderson was just getting there. He said, "Well," and he never really called your name. He made up stuff. I was Ani, there was Griffo, and stuff like that. We said, "Well, y'all, let me tell you." Says, "I got a one-bedroom too, but it's completely furnished, carpet, wall-to-wall carpeting, and the best thing about it, I could look out my window and see the entire state building." And we were like, so Griffey says, you mean you can see the whole building?" Because he did not call it empire. It was the entire state building. So those
Is it
type
true
things.
that he referred to himself often in the first person, like
Oh,
like he called himself Ricky all the
right.
time?
Well, I can tell you that story too, because one day we went to the park and I saw him. He wasn't dressed. I say, "Ricky, what's up?" He said, "Ricky Henderson not playing today." No, I said, "Really?" Yeah, George owes me something. I'm not playing. So we go through batting practice and infield. He still isn't dressed. So I said, "Ricky, you sure you're not playing?" "I told you Ricky Henderson's not playing today." So we go bang after infield. The game starts. He's out there dressed, happy as can be, running with the fans, went 4 for 4, stole 4 bases, got 4 hits. And it's like George had owed him an incentive bonus. I think it was like $135,000. So he said Ricky Henderson gonna play today, and he had a game out of this world. When he was happy, in my opinion, of the people I played against, he was one of the best at doing what he did than anybody I'd ever seen. I was glad he was on our team because when we played against him, he just gave us fits.
Isn't that amazing? Now, so that was one of my questions, was who was one of the best players you played with? Who was one of the toughest pitchers you ever faced?
I faced Dave Steve, and they had the stats on that.
Toronto.
Right. And I'm like 0 for 7. I didn't even realize that, but I never got a hit off this guy. He threw that sinker slider combination. Wasn't a big guy, but he knew how to throw that ball around the plate. Now, I'm not saying I struck out a lot, but I didn't get any hits either.
You
So,
didn't get on base.
I did not. So, but one of the guys I faced Nolan Ryan in '89 when that was my last year I was with Texas, and it was a simulated game. Jim Sundberg was catching. He was telling me what was coming. So he threw a fastball. I hit it out. And, he didn't like anybody to hit it out on him anyway. Well, so I wasn't not trying to do it anymore. But when they went to the other actual part of the game, they did not tell me what was coming. So first pitch, he threw a fastball that it popped, and I had tinnitus in my right ear. 'Cause it started ringing. So, oh, okay. I I did it like a regular at bat, see what he's throwing. So next pitch, I'm ready for that fastball again. He turned that ball over, threw that changeup. I almost screwed myself in the ground swinging at it. Okay. Now here's the third pitch. He does it again, and what a lot of people didn't realize, he screamed at you. When he let the ball go. So he did that, and the ball's coming right at my head. And that thing, it looks like it fell off the table. What a lot of people don't know, that curveball he had, when he was getting that over, that's when he threw those no hitters. Because I ran, I ducked, and I could see the ball right in Sundberg's glove, right down the middle of the plate. I'd have been many of those 5,000 strikeouts. That's all I could.
My gosh, that is gold. That is solid gold stuff.
Right.
Now, now tell me, I've got to hear the story. I've heard it before, but I want you to share it with the listeners. The story of in spring training one year, you were with King Griffey, and you were playing catch with his young son,
Right.
who most baseball fans know now as Hall of Famer King Griffey Jr.
Yes.
Tell me about that story a little bit.
Well, it was funny because we did a few things together. He played against Ricky Henderson in basketball and held his own with Ricky, but he was in there one day, and my wife, at the time, she wasn't my wife. We were dating and whatever in there. She's a very beautiful lady. And yesterday, we actually celebrated our 41st wedding anniversary. So that's been
Oh,
a blessing.
congratulations. You
That
you
has
even
been
got
a
something
blessing.
out. We're at 38 almost.
Right. Well,
Outstanding.
he told me, man, your wife is beautiful. I started laughing, and every once in a while I'll tell her that. I said, I still think you may have picked the wrong person.
I love that story. I absolutely love that story. Along the way with the Yankees, one of the coaches was just an absolute legendary Hall of Fame baseball player named Yogi Berra.
Yes.
And I know that you and Yogi kind of had a special bond. Tell me a little bit about that.
I think we did because Yogi liked to pick on people, and I was one that was more his size. I think I had him about 2 or 3 inches, but he called me Shorty, looking up at me all the time. And so, it's very comical, but he knew the game, and he did help out in my career too because he made it fun. And that's kind of how approached it. And I think that's one of the biggest assets I had. I knew I could play the game. Made it fun. I did not worry about pressures coming from up above or anything like that. I pulled that cap down. I could see myself, the pitcher hitter, hit the ball to me, and I kind of made a statement like, you make a right turn at first base, and you carry that blank back to the dugout. And that's kind of how I played the game. It was fun for me. It didn't do all the business or whatever, but Yogi was always having us laughing because one of the big things he said for us, we had played a game, kind of gotten beaten spring training, sweating. So we had to run wind sprints. You do those after the game, but he was going to make us do a lot of them that day. I guess we didn't play real well. So he says, okay, you guys, we're going to run now. So the thing is, he says, what I need you to do is pair up in threes. Well, we didn't have to run that day. That was one of the actual sayings I heard. Everybody just fell out, started laughing. He said, oh, you guys just go in.
Well,
Pair up
I
in
got
threes.
I got a treat to show you here. I'm a big sports collector, and I got the opportunity to meet Yogi one time, and I got a jersey autographed by him.
Awesome.
He was so gracious. He was such a wonderful man. I also got a ball signed by him and Don Larson,
Right. Oh,
from
okay.
the perfect
Perfect
game
game.
World
Right.
Series.
That's
But
awesome.
I knew he was very special to you, and sports is just in my blood. I never had the skills that you had, but I've been around sports my whole life, and so I could talk baseball stories all day long. And I know another game that happened during your career was the famous Pine Tar game.
Right.
Uh, that was something else. I know when George Brett hit the homer to take the lead in a game, and Billy Martin went out and said the pine tar was too high, and they called Brett out. He exploded. That was crazy.
That was one of the games I was at. I did not play that game, but I was there, and George Brett's not a small guy. He was furious, like you said, and I think they had been planning this for a long time because, I think soon as it happened, he went out, they got the bat, no, they put it on the ground, and I can't remember the umpire's name, but the umpire was like 6'6". He didn't back down. But Brett, they had to hold him back, and I said that's the kind of fire you want in players, that because they're
Right.
trying to be in that game, and he hit that ball off Goose, and I mean it's like, bam, and that can lead to another story for me too, because after that game it was called off, and we had that pine tar game. Well, that was the morning I ended up having my wreck.
Well, and
So
and we're gonna get to that because I know that's a big blink of an eye moment for you.
right.
What one last baseball story that I got to get in there is I got to hear some story about Billy Martin,
Okay.
because what besides the Pine Tar games, what's a Billy Martin story you can tell me?
Well, the one I could explain to you is it actually happened. We were out in Anaheim playing, and I know Billy likes to drink. I think everybody knew that. But this was one occasion that was not true. A guy came up to him. We were in the hotel at a bar, and like this guy kept coming up, pestering him. He tried to get him away. Well, one of the other guys in the group finally got the guy. He was just being belligerent. No, he got kind of beat up. And the next morning, of course, Billy did. And it was not Billy Martin. I can set that record straight, but they
Well,
tried
good.
to say it was him, and I don't know if that was his 15 minutes of fame, but until you're around stuff like that, you hear the stuff about him. Billy knew the game, and he was fiery, and he went after it, no 100% trying to win the games for the New York Yankees, and I admired
He
him for
wanted to
that.
win at all costs.
Yes, and it's like you like to be around people like that. And I said, all the people we brought in, they were great players and became. I was an admirer, is what it was, and it made me try to be the best that I could be. And that is kind of how I approach the game. Being around people like that, that's the only thing that you could do.
Absolutely, absolutely. I had the good fortune of way back when on my 40th birthday, my wife got me a tour of old Yankee Stadium.
Mhm.
Now they play new ballpark,
Right.
and I got a tour of that stadium and got to see a good game there. And what an incredible just cathedral to baseball and baseball history, and that you got to play and actually be out on the field and partake in games, to me is the baseball lover in me is just in awe, just talking to you. Like I said, it's just like royalty.
Hmm.
I want to shift the conversation a little bit to kind of a bleak day for you, bad day, if you will. I believe it happened in 1983.
Yes. Yes.
um uh, something happened very tragic. Tell us the story.
Okay, that's my second anniversary. It's not my wedding anniversary, but I'll say that it was on August the 18th,
Okay.
1983. Had a friend of mine come up from Texas. She was a cheerleader for UT. So we knew each other, and she was also the girlfriend of Lawrence Sampleton, who was a Philadelphia Eagles tight end. So
Yeah, I
we
remember
were,
that name too.
and I'm like, a lot of people were thinking some stuff that was not wrong. We were really good friends, and course, we were wanting to go out. I did not know her entire history either. It just goes to show you don't know everyone like you think you do, but decided we went to Studio 54. I know a lot of people may not know what that is, but it was a
Oh,
big
back in
old
that day, that
warehouse.
was the place to be.
Right, it was a big old warehouse that a lot of people, a lot of actresses, actors would go to get away from it all. So after that, we decided to go take a tour or go visit the, over there that Statue of Liberty. Going over there and seeing that. Well, on the way, where I was on the West Side Highway, and I don't remember everything that happened, but I ended up in the hospital. My car got flipped. She was paralyzed from the waist down. And I hated that for her. And like my career was in big jeopardy because I broke my neck also. So
Yeah,
now that,
and that is unreal to me that you broke your neck,
mhm,
and this was at the height. I mean, that was effectively your rookie year. I mean,
right,
you had played a little bit, but from official terms, it was kind of your rookie year, right?
right. Well, I
And
was the actual starter.
yeah,
Because I played off and on, I was up 2 or 3 times in '82, besides the '81 year where I went up and actually appeared in a World Series game as a pinch runner. I wasn't a starter. We had, had a different player. Bucky had gotten hurt. So we had Larry Milbourne actually played in the series, and I was the backup. But '83, after I got up, I was the starter, and we were right in there for the championship. And no, I got hurt, flipped the car, had the broken neck. But the inspiring part behind it is I did not let it affect how I played. So I was in the hospital for 9 days. I think they named me Joaquin Murphy or something, so that nobody knew it was me. And they took care of me very well. But with the broken neck, I went home and I thought, well, I'm going to make it back from this because like you said, an inspiration as far as I'm going to make it back because I had always dreamed of being a Major League Baseball player. A lot of people ask me that. How did you do that? I went to see my idol play in Houston against the Astros. It was Willie Mays.
oh
So,
wow, that's a
but
good idol to have.
right, and no, I got to meet Barry Bonds with his dad, Bobby Bonds
Bobby,
coming out, and I
Bobby,
ended up playing with him later in the minor leagues with the Yankees. So, but to come full circle about that day is I didn't really know how bad I was hurt till I went home. I had the neck brace on. They had invented. I avoided the halo. They had made another, and everybody used to say it looked like a bird bath. No here, so but I was, reached in the refrigerator and I took out a gallon of milk and it just went straight down. I did not know it at the time, but because I was just glad to be alive, I was doing well, but that's when I found out I had hurt my shoulder, or even worse than the neck, so I had to rehab and my throwing. I used to have a pretty strong arm, but I managed to play a couple of years after that, but that's what hurt me more than the broken neck, believably, because I made it back from that, but I had trouble throwing the ball across the infield.
but the fact, and I know you played second base a little bit after that, a little bit
Right,
more than you did short because that was
right.
a shorter throw for you. But what do you think internally made you just keep working to get back? Because I have to tell you, one of the things I admire the most about you is you're almost like, well, it was just a bump in the road and I had to do it and just did it. I mean, you
Right,
amaze me that way because most people, they have that kind of an event and they're completely different. They don't make it back. They may struggle to learn how to walk, much less, get back in a major league uniform.
right. Well, I took that from my dad. He said, and I still use that term. And he's back here on the wall behind me. I don't know. I think that's
Oh, I
his
see him.
picture
I
back
see
there.
him. Yes, sir.
So I'm actually staying in their house right now doing a little renovation. But what he told me growing up, and I'll tell it to everybody, and I don't know if you remember me saying this, but he said, do not start anything that you cannot finish.
I love it.
So I took that with everything, do not start what you can't finish. So I did not feel I was finished. And I thought I could get back on that field, and I did. It wasn't in the same shape or form that I was before it happened, but I ended up actually playing from 1983, and my last year was 1989, where I decided that was it. I was telling you about the Nolan Ryan story. I was with them, and after that season was over, well, if I'm going to be in the minor leagues, I did make it up for a week during that year with the Texas Rangers. That was the last team I actually played with in the major leagues, and that was full circle because they drafted me out of high school. But I decided to go to University of Texas because I didn't feel I was really ready. And me going back to Texas is what got me there because I worked with Bill Bethay. He was a shortstop for the Minnesota Twins. And he helped me. And I'll tell him this to this day. He said, no, you were the one that got yourself to the big leagues, but I never played my position in college that was shortstop, but I played second base. I learned to play, and I was a 3-year starter at UT. He taught me the footwork that made me be able to play second base. And I've got a lot of people that I thanked over the years for helping me get to where you're saying I was into that big apple. And it's like I've also told people that, and I think they deserve that. I didn't do this on my own. I had a lot of mentors and a lot of people that helped me along the way, and I still try to do it now. Like said, you named that baseball field after me in high school, and that's an honor. I didn't ask for that, and it's all of those type things. And my daddy told me be humble, because the other thing he told me was don't talk about yourself. Let other people talk about your accomplishments. And that's kind of how I approach everything throughout my life. And I try to tell my kids. In fact, the thing I'm most proud of are my kids. My daughter, she's almost, I don't want to say the same age where we got married, but she became an RN. My oldest son, Ryan Andre Robertson, he went to A&M, graduated. Uh,
Whoop.
he went to Southern in Louisiana. Then went to University of Houston Law School. He got his law degree first try, and he's an attorney today working in Houston. Now, my youngest son was the better athlete, I think, as far as all around, but he was diabetic, and that kind of hindered his career. But I'm most proud of them. They are all doing well. And to me, that's a bigger accomplishment than what I did as a Major League Baseball player. Very proud of my
Well,
kids.
your dad would be proud because I know how humble you are, and I know you as a friend that you are a very humble man, and I know how hardworking you are, and what a wonderful family that you have, and the example that you set for your children. And I have two great kids myself, and they're grown and they're doing amazing things too. So I understand that pride. I understand that when you say, you look at all your accomplishments, and to me, the best accomplishments I have are my two kids and what they're
Right.
accomplishing in
And
life, and
that's
now my grandkids, and that's an amazing thing,
right. And I
Uh,
got a story about that. Yes,
oh, I got to hear it too.
I don't have grandkids. And a lot of
Okay.
people ask me all the time, you've got 3 grown children, you don't have any grandkids? I said, no, I don't think they want to have kids, because I made up this little story. I said, you know how you say you always want to make things better for your kids than for you? I said, and y'all gonna have a hard time doing that, because growing up, we were taking care of those kids. And I said, I did tell somebody one day, and it's my little comical aspect of that is, I said, by the time I have grandkids, they're gonna come run up to me, "Hey, Papa, can we go with you?" I'm gonna say, "Yep, y'all come on." They're gonna jump on my lap in that little scooter with the flag on it, riding down the road, because I think that's about the time I'll be having grandkids. I won't be able to get around.
Oh, I think that's funny, but I hope that you do get some because I got to tell you, as proud as you are of your
Mhm.
kids, man, when you have grandkids, it just takes it to another level. Now, mine are still real little. I've got basically a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old grandson, and I am proud to say that I've got a little granddaughter on the way.
Right.
So that's exciting to me and got a lot of cool stuff. I got to tell you, I could talk all day with all of these wonderful, wonderful stories that you have. I promised you that we wouldn't go much longer than 30 minutes, and we're already there, if you can believe it. Um, let me wrap it up. I want you to hang on. I'm going to wrap it up real quick, and we'll go from there. But, ladies and gentlemen, just an amazing story, an amazing overcoming that tragedy of the car wreck. Just unreal. If you like hearing uplifting stories of overcoming challenges in life, click the like and subscribe button right down there. Perhaps you have a story of your own to share, an accident, a sudden loss, PTSD, alcohol and drug abuse, a natural disaster, or illnesses, and you would like to share that journey of overcoming, please contact me at that email shown right below for consideration for a future podcast interview. I rely on viewers like you to share their stories, and we've had so many great ones. And this one, every episode, I think I'm taking it up another notch, and I certainly feel like I did today with Andre Robertson. Thanks again to TradingCardsMarketplace.com for their continued sponsorship to bring these great stories to all of us. TradingCardsMarketplace.com. Discover, connect, collect. Awaken the collector in you. I want to thank everyone out there, especially my family, our military veterans and first responders who put their lives on the line every day. We can't forget our teachers and medical professionals who all make the world better, one person at a time. But most of all, thank God for all the blessings in our world. We just need to make sure we concentrate on those blessings every single day. Until next time, my friends, Carpe Diem, seize the day.